Welcome to this short video about how I modded a Jackson Dinky guitar. Just to give you a bit of background, the guitar itself was picked up for about 80 quid. So we started off with a strip down, which was simple, cutting the strings, basically taking the neck off the guitar, removing the trem, detaching the electrics. I'd never done anything like this before of this scale, so it was quite an interesting challenge. You know, I just find it cheap to buy maybe a cheaper guitar than to go and pay 1,000 odd quid to have a course on how to do it. Sometimes you're better off doing it yourself. So yeah, detach the neck, standard 4 screws. I was quite impressed with the block that came out of the trem actually in this guitar. It's very thick and heavy, which normally are quite cheap. Neck pocket's fine, and obviously it had the stock Jackson pickups in it. You had the white wire was live and the red was going to be the ground wire, and I followed that colour convention all the way through the project. So as I took it apart, most videos, good practice, I bagged up the parts to make sure I had them when it came to putting the guitar back together. Ultimately, it's pretty neat, to be fair. Inside, the cavity was covered in non-conductive paint. This was the tough part. I don't know how many layers of black paint they applied at the factory. This was hard. I went for about 7 or 8 sanding pads. I used a Black & Decker mouse as well, but it was difficult. As you can see, it's messy too. So do it outside. Don't ever do it indoors. Or your missus will kill you. I used a leaf blower actually to get rid of most of the dust, and then I wiped it down with a damp cloth afterwards. But as you can see, my intention was to sand the whole thing, but as I got through it, I thought it looked quite cool leaving it like that. So I just left it with a bit of black and a bit of natural wood. It was always my goal to make it a natural guitar. So what I did was I just bought some standard finishing oil that you can use for furniture. And I applied it, but it was dead easy. I mean, it was about 3 coats, but you have to leave it you kind of have to put 1 coat on it, leave it for 10 minutes, wipe off the excess, and then let it dry for 5 hours. So I spent a lot of the time flipping the guitar every few hours. It's about 3 coats, so it took about 3 days. As you can see, just standard finishing oil really there. Came in fine, no problems at all. Overall, the finish was quite good. Just use standard blue towel to just slightly, pass it on across the guitar. No scrubbing, nothing aggressive. What I did do when it came to after 10 minutes, when you have to take off the excess, I used a very finely abrasive kind of cleaning pad that you can see there. I just kind of gently went over the top to take the roughness off. And then obviously once I'd done that, I left it for 5 hours or overnight, whichever is easiest really. Quite satisfying actually, putting oil on the guitar. There's something quite Tetris-like about it. Right, so that was basically the finished article, and I screwed in the new pickups. So I took the Jackson ones out and then put some Ibanez Classic Elite in. I thought, why not? Bit of a mellower pickup. Wiring, hell, never done it before. Ultimately, it took me about 4 or 5 times to take this guitar in and out. I made all the mistakes you'd expect to make first time you wire a guitar. I had the jack live and ground the wrong way. I had the pickups on the wrong end of the switch. But a multimeter came in very handy to track where all the circuits were going. And eventually, on about my 5th attempt, I managed to get this nailed down. It doesn't look the prettiest, but actually the pickups are fine now and it's working absolutely fine. And there we have it. One finished Jackson Dinky in natural oil with Ibanez pickups in it. Bizarre. Anyway, enjoy the tones.